Why, hello there YouTube, and welcome to a Revolting review. I am Random Ross, and today I review A Christmas Carol, the 2019 miniseries. So, this is another version of Charles Dickens' timeless classic, A Christmas Carol, this time developed by the people that gave us Peaky Blinders. And this stars, this is written by Stephen Knight, by the story from Charles Dickens, starring Guy Pearce, Andy Serkis, Stephen Graham, Charlotte Riley, Joe Alwyn, Venita Robinson, and Jason Fleming or something. And this is also produced by Ridley Scott and Tom Hardy, and also Stephen Knight. Well, executive produce Tom Hardy isn't, Ridley Scott. So this is a 3-part miniseries and is a dark take on A Christmas Carol. And when I mean dark, I mean really, really dark. With this being from the people that behind Peaky Blinders, they really took the darkness seriously and the themes and everything. So basically, if you know the classic tale of Charles Dickens' classic A Christmas Carol, you know that Scrooge is a grumpy old miser. He gets visited by free spirits, all that and this and the other, and at the end of it becomes a new man, changes his ways. So yeah, that's basically the story, what happens, but a lot darker. So let's get on to my likes and dislikes about this. First of all, I thought the performances from this was great. Guy Pearce as Scrooge, yeah, he wasn't a grumpy, crotchety old man in this. He was a grumpy, middle-aged, short-tempered man in this. And, just hated Christmas like Scrooge does. And, treats his employees, well, his workers, well, one worker he has, Bob Cratchit, played by that guy out of those BT adverts. BT Broadband, what's the guy's name? Joe Alwyn. So yeah, I liked the performance from Guy Pearce. And I thought, Joe Alwyn was good as Bob Cratchit, and we even got a bit more fleshed out character of Mary Cratchit, Bob Cratchit's wife, played by Venita Robinson. She was Mrs. Cratchit in this, and she was fleshed out a lot more as a character. Even had a couple secrets with her as well, like she was willing to break her commandment of marriage to get money for Tiny Tim's treatments. Tiny Tim in this was played by Lenny Rush, who was great in his performance. We even had Johnny Harris from This Is England. So we got Stephen Graham from This Is England. We got Johnny Harris from This Is England as Scrooge's father, Franklin. We even he did a very brutal and straight up performance, and was a terrible man to Scrooge. And we had Kevin Novak in this, who I know as Phone Jacker, has gone on to be in many films, even starring in the TV series of What We Do in the Shadows as Ali Baba, who is a character Scrooge looked up to and read the book Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves non-stop to get away from his terrible childhood life. And he plays Ali Baba, but at the same time he's the spirit of Christmas past, because in this the spirit of Christmas past takes various forms of people from Scrooge's past that he was close with or looked to, and one of those many faces was Ali Baba. So yeah, Kevin Novak played that form, but it was technically the spirit of Christmas past in disguise. I also like Stephen Graham as Jacob Marley, We got more of an explanation to why he wears those chains. I mean, we all know why he wears the chains, but it turns out each loop in the chain represents one of the people that he wronged in life, and he had to wear them chains for all eternity. Well, no, he had to wear them till he could change Scrooge's ways. And of course, I can't forget the spirits. Andy Serkis as the spirit of Christmas past. He was brilliant in his role. He looked like a dark, like old Jesus with Saint Nicholas in there, and showed lots of shadows from Scrooge's past and alternate pasts of things that would have happened if his past had played out. Like we all know Scrooge's lover, what was her name? It's her name now. Elizabeth, I think that's her name. He shows him a quick projection of that, but we don't see that in his past segment of how it ends, because it doesn't just end where it shows Scrooge making a big mistake walking out on his love life. But yeah, Andy Serkis did a great performance as that spirit. We also had Charlotte Riley, aka Mrs. Tom Hardy's wife, as a grown-up version of Scrooge's sister Lottie, and was also the spirit of Christmas present in this as well. She was the spirit of Christmas present for Scrooge. I thought she was great in this, but she didn't have as much screen time as the spirit of Christmas past did. I feel like the spirit of Christmas past took a lot of screen time out. We also had Jason Fleming as the spirit of Christmas future, or Christmas yet to come, and his look in this was a Victorian gentleman with his mouth sewn shut. Now his mouth sewn shut, it now explains in this why he's silent, because knowing what he knows, he can't share the shadows of what will be, even if the future changes due to decisions people make. So the spirit couldn't share that with Scrooge, and that's why he couldn't speak, but he decided all. I much prefer the Grim Reaper look that he has had in past incarnations, but hey, I thought he was a great spirit of Christmas future, really made it look horrifying. And that's another thing, this is a dark take, a really dark take. In fact, this isn't even for children, it isn't. When this was on in December 22nd, 23rd and 24th, so it played out for 3 nights, 3 episodes, 1 hour. It was on at 9 o'clock past the watershed time, so yeah, this has a lot of swearing. This has swearing in it. It does. Yeah, basically in nearly every single Christmas carol that we've seen, it's been family friendly. This is in no way family friendly. It has swearing in it, some mild nudity, but yeah, very grim and dark, depressing elements in this too, because A Christmas Carol is a ghost story and it is very dark, and that's what we get in that. But yeah, I actually liked it. It actually made it all horror, and I would say this is a horror take. One of the best dark takes we've seen since the modern take with Ross Kemp, I would say. A very dark version, and did have a lot of horror elements in there. Definitely a lot of horror elements. Yeah, and at the end, Scrooge does become a new man. But, yeah, he's still like... He does change his ways, but, we even get his nephew appearing in this, Fred, who we all know in the tale, invites him for Christmas dinner, then at the end he accepts the invitation. We didn't see that. We didn't actually see him go to his nephew and accept his invitation for Christmas dinner, or anything like that. We don't actually get a time jump by 1 year to show how much he's changed and everything. Doesn't promote Cratchit. He approves of Cratchit wanting to leave Scrooge and Marley, and gives him a big bonus and enough money to pay for Tim's treatments. And in the end, he decides to bankrupt himself. And yeah, so he does change and become a nice man. But we don't see a lot of the stuff we usually see in various takes. Yeah. So on my dislikes there, this was 3 hours long, you watch all 3 episodes together, it's 3 hours long, because each episode's an hour long. I watched this all on Christmas Day. I binge watched it on Christmas Day evening, after we'd all had our Christmas drinks and Christmas dinner and everything. We settled down at 6 o'clock, watched A Christmas Carol, and we were done at 9 o'clock. So this was 3 hours long, but it flew by pretty fairly. The first episode, I'd say, was good and interesting. It was a bit of a slow burn, it did drag on a bit, and the haunting of the spirits to Scrooge never really started until it was ending, part 1. But then part 2, we delved into the past with Scrooge and the Spirit of Christmas Past, and we saw a lot of Scrooge's past, even, and not all of it was bright and cheerful. In fact, it was very dark and morbid, especially that scene where he's a kid and he's spending Christmas Day with the headmaster of the boarding school. I was like, oh god, don't have that in it. But yeah, then Scrooge's sister came to his aid and got him out of the school, and that was very dark. The past scenes were very dark, and the present was too dark, but very morbid in the future. But yeah, the past segment of Scrooge being shown his past dragged out through part 2 and the first half, not the first half, the first chunk of part 3. So when we still had like 2 more spirits to get through. So I felt like the present segment was a bit rushed. It's like they only showed Cratchit's family. We didn't see any of his nephew Fred. We didn't see the whole of them. We saw like a church choir, a church singing, and that was it. It was, like I say, the Spirit of Christmas Presents part was rushed, along with the future as well. Scrooge did see himself in the future dead and buried, but he wasn't upset. Alright, he was kind of accepting of that fate. Like he was accepting of it. But what really tore him apart was the fate of Tiny Tim. Now, he goes on to like die from his illness, but in this he sort of ice skates on a pond and doesn't drown, but freezes and dies. And Scrooge just doesn't want Tiny Tim to meet the fate of death. Scrooge, though, he seems to be accepting and willing of that. He knows that now he sees the error of his ways, that he has been a miserable old git, and is fine with death. He just doesn't want anything bad to happen to Tiny Tim, which is why he donates so much charity to the Cratchit family in the end. But yeah, it's like the first episode dragged on a bit. It did drag on a lot, because on average film takes on this have been like an hour and a half long, 2 hours long. This was 3 hours, and I feel that part 3 was a bit rushed towards the end in its final acts. But yeah, this was a very dark, interesting take on A Christmas Carol, and I fairly much enjoyed it. My dad was impressed with it too, because we both like Peaky Blinders. He was impressed by it too, said it was one of the best takes since Ross Kemp, and I'd probably say yeah. But there are some flaws with it, with its timing and its screen time. But other than that, it is a good take. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to give Christmas Carol 2019 miniseries, and I don't usually review miniseries or TV shows on here that are horror related. It's usually just horror films, but yeah, I thought why not push the boat out and review like a TV show every once in a while, or a miniseries on something that's horror related. Let me know down in the comments below if you want to see more of that in 2020. If you're watching and that. So yeah, this is probably going to be the last Revolting review for a while as well, because from New Year's Day my channel is going to be taken over by Frankenstein and Dr. Fripp for the 5th and final season of Halloween in January. Halloween in January 5. Yes, that is coming to an end because, well, it's just, I don't want it to get any stale, as it already seems to be getting. But anyhow, yeah, Christmas Carol 2019. My ratings for this, have I rated it already? No, I don't think I have. With all that being said, I'm going to give Christmas Carol 2019... I'll give this 3.5 Krampus switches out of 5. 3.5 Krampus switches out of 5. It was fairly decent, quite good, very quite entertaining, very dark, very morbid and bleak and grim, but it was a fairly decent watch. There were some little flaws here and there with it, but yeah, I thought it was fairly decent. So yeah, 3.5 Krampus switches out of 5. So that has been my Revolting review. Have you seen this one? Let me know down in the comments below. I should probably have warned you at the beginning there would be spoilers in this, but yeah, I'll put it out on the card on the title of this video when it's up. Yeah, so yeah, let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and to hit that notification bell, and to share with your friends. And I hope everyone's had and is still having a great Christmas. Have a very happy new year and all the best for 2020. So until then, till next time, don't have nightmares.